Africa's most ambitious project, 3D printed bridge stuns the world. When you think of Africa, you might picture breathtaking landscapes, vibrant cities, and ancient history. But today, Africa is making headlines for something truly extraordinary, a project so ambitious, so bold, that it has stunned the entire world. This is the story of Africa's most ambitious project, a 3D printed bridge that redefines the boundaries of engineering and imagination. Our story begins with a question: what happens when innovation meets necessity? Across Africa, infrastructure has long been one of the greatest challenges. Roads, bridges, and railways are lifelines, yet building them has often been slow, expensive, and complicated. That's why, in the heart of the continent, a team of visionaries decided to take a daring leap into the future. They set out to build not just a bridge, but a symbol of progress, a bridge designed and constructed using 3D printing technology. The idea was revolutionary. Instead of pouring concrete and waiting weeks or months for it to set, massive 3D printers layer by layer print the structure directly on site. The team believed that this method could cut costs, reduce waste, and complete the project in record time. And so, in a dusty field surrounded by curious onlookers, the first foundations were laid. Or rather, printed. Giant robotic arms swung into motion, extruding specialized concrete in precise patterns. At first, many doubted it would work. Critics called it a fantasy. Some even laughed at the idea of a printed bridge. But as days turned into weeks, the structure began to rise. Graceful curves and intricate patterns took shape, designs that would have been nearly impossible with traditional methods. What made this bridge even more astonishing was its design. Engineers and architects worked together to create a structure inspired by African art and nature. The patterns etched into its sides reflected the rhythms of tribal textiles and the flowing lines of rivers. It wasn't just a bridge, it was a masterpiece of culture and technology. And then, the day came when the final segment was printed. The team held their breath as inspectors examined the bridge. Could it really hold the weight of traffic? Could it withstand the elements? The answer came with a resounding yes. The 3D printed bridge passed every test and then some. Not only was it as strong as a traditional bridge, but it was lighter, more efficient, and more environmentally friendly. News of the achievement spread quickly. Headlines around the world celebrated Africa's daring step into the future. Engineers from Europe, Asia, and America traveled just to see it with their own eyes. But beyond the headlines, the bridge represented something much bigger. It showed what was possible when creativity, technology, and determination come together. It showed the world that Africa isn't just following trends, it's setting them. The bridge has since become more than just a way to cross a river. It has become a destination in itself, drawing tourists, students, and innovators who come to marvel at its elegance. Local schools bring children here to show them what's possible in their own homeland. Universities use it as a case study in modern engineering. And entrepreneurs across the continent have been inspired to dream bigger, knowing that no idea is too bold. What's next? Already, plans are in motion to build more 3D printed structures, not just bridges, but homes, hospitals, and even entire communities. This technology could revolutionize construction across the continent, bringing affordable, sustainable infrastructure to places that need it most. As the sun sets behind the bridge and the lights illuminate its graceful lines, it stands as a beacon of what Africa can achieve. A reminder that innovation has no borders. And that the future is being built layer by layer right here. So, the next time you hear someone say that Africa is behind, tell them this story. Tell them about the engineers who defied gravity and expectations to build the impossible. Tell them about the bridge that stunned the world. Because Africa's most ambitious project is more than just concrete and steel. It's proof that Africa is ready to lead and the world is watching. But the journey to this incredible achievement wasn't easy. Behind the smooth curves and the polished concrete lies a tale of struggle, perseverance, and brilliant teamwork. The engineers faced countless obstacles from the very beginning. The specialized 3D printers had to be shipped from abroad, navigating customs delays and technical setbacks. The African climate, with its intense heat during the day and cool, damp nights, posed challenges to the curing process of the printed material. There were also skeptics. Locals who watched the strange machines at work doubted they would ever finish. Politicians questioned whether funds were being wasted. Even some engineers on the team wondered if the technology was ready for such a monumental task. Yet the team pressed on. They ran tests every day, tweaking the mix of materials until they developed a unique concrete blend that could withstand both the printer and the harsh climate. The designers also faced challenges. They wanted the bridge to reflect Africa's identity, not just a copy of a Western design. So they consulted local artisans, weavers, and elders, drawing inspiration from centuries-old patterns and symbols. One of the lead architects described the moment when the first patterned panel came out of the printer as pure magic. She said, "We weren't just building a bridge, we were telling a story." And indeed, the story spread. When the final segment was printed and the bridge officially opened, it became more than just a transportation route. It became a gathering place. Families came to picnic under its arches. Couples posed for wedding photos on its walkway. Artists painted its silhouette against the evening sky. Even more impressive was the effect it had on the young people in the region. Schools began organizing field trips to the site. Students who had never thought about engineering before suddenly found themselves dreaming of careers in construction, architecture, and robotics. One young boy was quoted saying, "If they can build a bridge like this here, maybe I can build something great too." That single sentence captured the true impact of the project. Beyond the steel and concrete, it built hope. And then came the accolades. International awards poured in recognizing the bridge as one of the most innovative engineering feats of the decade. It became a case study in sustainable design, showing how developing regions can leapfrog traditional methods and embrace cutting-edge technology. But perhaps the greatest honor came from the community itself. The locals gave the bridge a name that means Path of Dreams in their language, a tribute to what it represents. Since then, several African cities have started planning their own 3D printed projects, from affordable housing complexes to emergency shelters for refugees. Companies are now investing in research centers to train local talent in 3D printing techniques, ensuring that the knowledge stays on the continent and grows from within. Experts say this is just the beginning. With Africa's rapid urbanization and young population, the potential for innovation is limitless. One engineer summed it up beautifully: "We didn't just build a bridge here. We built a future." And as night falls and the bridge glows softly under its lights, you can't help but feel inspired. This structure, born from audacious dreams and cutting-edge technology, stands as proof of what humanity can achieve when it dares to imagine more. For centuries, bridges have been symbols of connection between lands, between people, between the past and the future. This 3D printed bridge in Africa is no different. It connects history to possibility, tradition to technology, and vision to reality. So the next time someone tells you the future is far away, tell them about this bridge. Tell them about Africa's most ambitious project, a bridge that stunned the world and showed that with courage, creativity, and determination, even the wildest dreams can take shape. This is just the beginning. Africa's path of dreams stretches far beyond this bridge. And who knows what incredible feats will rise next? Because in Africa, the future isn't waiting. It's being built right now. And as word of the bridge continued to spread, the world took notice. News outlets from every corner of the globe sent reporters to cover the story. Cameras flashed. Headlines shouted. The world marveled not only at the structure itself, but at what it symbolized: that innovation does not belong to the few, it belongs to everyone willing to dream boldly enough to try. In Europe, engineers praised its ingenuity, calling it a glimpse into the future of sustainable construction. In Asia, architects were inspired to experiment with their own designs, combining 3D printing with traditional building techniques. In North America, universities updated their textbooks to include the bridge as a landmark case study. It became a global conversation about resilience, about progress, and about the boundless potential of technology when wielded with vision and purpose. But the story also resonated at a deeper human level. The bridge stood as proof that we are all capable of more than we think. It showed that limitations are often illusions waiting to be challenged. One member of the team summed it up perfectly when she said, "When we began this journey, people told us it couldn't be done. But every time the printer moved, every layer it laid down, it was like saying, yes, it can. Yes, we can." The bridge also became a metaphor. For many, it symbolized bridging gaps between technology and tradition, between rich and poor, between the global north and the global south. It united people not just physically, but emotionally. Local elders who once viewed the machines with suspicion grew to see them as partners. Young engineers learned from older builders, blending time-honored wisdom with cutting-edge innovation. Communities that had long been divided came together to celebrate a shared achievement. Even more remarkable was what came after. The team began to share their knowledge openly, offering workshops to train young Africans in the art and science of 3D printed construction. These sessions sparked a quiet revolution, inspiring dozens of grassroots projects, from small footbridges in rural villages to experimental homes in urban centers. Governments and private investors also took notice. Suddenly, 3D printed infrastructure was on the agenda, not as a distant possibility, but as a present, powerful solution to urgent challenges. The bridge had become more than concrete and algorithms. It had become hope, possibility, and proof. And as the seasons changed, the bridge weathered storms, floods, and winds, standing strong as a testament to the skill and vision that built it. It even became a cultural landmark, featured in films, documentaries, and music videos. Artists painted murals of it. Poets wrote verses about it. Children sketched it in their notebooks. It no longer belonged just to the engineers or the city that commissioned it, it belonged to everyone. Looking at it today, it is hard to imagine the landscape without it. The sun rises behind it each morning, casting long shadows that stretch like fingers across the water. At night, the bridge glows with soft lights that reflect on the surface below, a quiet, graceful reminder that bold dreams leave lasting marks. And it reminds us of something universal, that progress often comes not with loud proclamations, but with steady, deliberate steps. Or in this case, layer by printed layer. And so the question lingers, what else might be possible? If this team could defy convention and build a bridge that once seemed impossible, what else could Africa and indeed humanity achieve if we refuse to accept the limits we've been told to believe? That's the beauty of this story. It's not just about a bridge. It's about you. It's about me. It's about everyone who has ever dared to imagine something bigger and then set out to make it real. The future is not something we wait for. It's something we create. And in Africa, on the banks of that river, they showed the world exactly how it's done. So the next time you see that elegant structure standing proud against the horizon, remember, it started as a dream. A bold, impossible dream. Until someone decided to print it into reality. And so we ask you, what dream will you build? Because if Africa can print a bridge that stunned the world, imagine what else is waiting to rise. This was the story of Africa's most ambitious project, a 3D printed bridge that stunned the world and inspired millions. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of innovation and inspiration from around the globe. Thank you for watching.